Speedway Report is a production of ZTV. Myrtle Beach Speedway takes a final bow for stock cars. Daytona opened up the road course to the NASCAR National Touring Series. And let's get those Marco Polo jokes going. Oh, that's bad. Yeah, I know. We've got all this and more coming up. Welcome to Speedway Report, Monday, August the 17th. 2020, from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. I'm Patrick Reynolds, and thank you for joining the fastest half hour in racing. Good to see everybody out there, back at it. Big victory lane lap as we get set cruising through the summer amid COVID-19. Schedules on, schedules off. Races happening, races not. We're doing the best we can to manage everything that's going on in the world of motorsports and bringing you the news. Let's talk about the NASCAR Cup Series as we kick off the Speedway Airport Victory Lane Lap. Talk about this weekend that was. NASCAR triple header, well, 4 if you count the ARCA Series now. I still got to drill that into my head that they're part of NASCAR now. Ran the road course at the Daytona International Speedway with an additional kink between NASCAR Turn 4 and the start-finish line. Lately, their Cup road course expert has been Chase Elliott, and he did not disappoint yesterday. Held off Denny Hamlin in a close finish. Elliott scoring the victory, third straight for the Cup Series on road courses goes to Chase Elliott. The Xfinity cars raced at the Roval, I guess you'd call it, on Saturday afternoon. Austin Cindric scored another win for his series. And in the trucks, the prelude to the Cup race on a very hot Sunday morning, Sheldon Creed was the winner of the trucks. IndyCar was at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway qualifying for the Indianapolis 500 this weekend. The grid has been set. The Fast 9 yesterday, legendary name Marco Andretti will sit on the pole and lead the field to the 104th running of the Indy 500 on Sunday. Very weird to talk about this race in the middle of August, yet here we are. Marco on the pole. He'll lead the field into turn 1. Well, maybe. See if those other guys in the front row have something to say about it. First time, and Andretti has been on the pole since his grandfather Mario in 1987. Yes, I remember that race. That was Big Al Unser's 4th win. That win that year tied him with A.J. Foyt with 4 wins at the Brickyard. Mario did lead most of that race. No kidding, mechanical problems hampered him in the late stages of it. I remember it well. I think I still have that on videotape here somewhere in one of my boxes in the attic or something like that. At the time, Marco was 2 months old when Mario sat on the pole. And in all this time, I never realized that his dad, Michael, never won the pole for the Indy 500. This guy, Michael, led 431 laps of Indy 500 competition, far and away the most laps led by any driver that never won the Indy 500. This will probably be Marco's best shot. Remember, back in 2006, when he lost that narrow one to Sam Hornish Jr. as a rookie at age 19, I figured he'd be just chalking it up and his career would be clicking off Indy 500 wins. Here we are, 2020. Marco still looking for his first win in the 500. Jumping across the pond to Spain, Lewis Hamilton had his way with the Formula One field with his Mercedes. He left only second place Max Verstappen in a Red Bull and third place his Mercedes teammate Valtteri Bottas on the same lap. Those were the only 3 cars on the lead lap at the conclusion of the Spanish Grand Prix on Sunday. He just took him to school. Jumping over to the dirt back here in the United States, Lucas Oil Late Models ran the North-South 100 over the weekend at Florence, Kentucky. Littlefoot, Tim McCready was your winner. I'm talking about all these second-generation guys. I am getting older because I've seen all of their dads race. Now these kids are no longer kids. They've got kids growing up themselves that are racing. A lot of credit was given to McCready's big block modified racing and his experience in the Northeast with the dry slick surface that turned out at Florence. over the weekend, gave him an edge as he took the lead on lap 87 of the 100 to cash the big check. World of Outlaw Sprints, no Knoxville Nationals this year, but they did run an expanded version of the Capitani Classic, a 3-night race. Kind of, sort of halfway Nationals, but not really. No, it's not the Knoxville Nationals, but still a pretty big sprint car race. Thursday night, Kyle Larson sat in victory lane after the 25-lap preliminary feature. Friday night, David Gravel was your A-main winner. And Saturday night, who else would you think could cash the $50,000? That's right, Kyle Larson again. Guy is on a tear, and you're watching something magical in sprint car racing. Don't miss the Kyle Larson show. The sprint cars are coming to a town near you. ARCA was also part of the Daytona weekend on the road course. Michael Self won that race late Friday evening. USAC Silver Crown were on the pavement at Salem, Indiana. My goodness. Salem, Indiana. Silver Crown. Oh, boy. Gosh, that's a heart stopper right there. Cody Swanson. Yeah, I've seen him run Anderson. I've seen him run Lucas Oil Raceway. My goodness. Silver Crown cars at Salem. That'll make your heart flutter. I need to see that. I need to see that soon in my lifetime, is see Silver Crown cars on the high banks of Salem. And on the dirt in Grandview, Pennsylvania, our friends on the hill, Jeff Strunk won the small block modified feature on Saturday night. Good to be back with y'all. Over the weekend, we had a little tearjerker as we said goodbye to Myrtle Beach Speedway, sort of the home track for our Racers Reunion audience. The studios with Jeff Gilder and Racers Reunion were run out of studios in Myrtle Beach for many, many years before Bill Pratt and Jerry Smith and the Goat Rodeo. We were all together there running out of the same studios. Myrtle Beach, a close short track there. So much history with stock car racing, both the dirt and the pavement. Newer fans will remember the track have ties to Dale Earnhardt Jr. as he ran his late model stock car career there before he moved up to the Busch Series. But they're way back before that. A whole lot of stock car history there. Hit up Coastal Jack Walker on Facebook. He's a great historian. Myrtle Beach, his home track, him and Coastal Margaret. They're down there. Hit him up on Facebook, and he's got pages, well, our Racers Reunion pages on social media, as well as Coastal. He's got, I wish I could remember the name of the page. I'm drawing a blank on it. He's got some great photos and history and records that were kept. We don't keep records back decades ago like we do now, but there's some great photos there of Myrtle Beach Speedway. So hit up Coastal Jack Walker. I got burned on this one. I was looking at going down to the final race at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Roughly from where I am, it's about 4.5 hours. I thought it was going to get rained out. It was pouring rain, thundering here around Lake Norman, North Carolina. I was even watching my friends on social media live Saturday afternoon from the pit area at Myrtle Beach Speedway, watching the rain just dump buckets on these guys. I made other plans and moved on. Guess what happened? The rain moved on too. It quit raining. They got the show in. It is the final stock car race at Myrtle Beach Speedway. I wasn't there. I missed it. They still got a few more events before the track is torn up. The property there has just grown too high in value. And the people that own it, well, the property owners, they're not racers. The people that lease the property, they want to run racing. But when you own real estate like that, that's what it is. It's an investment. It's an exit strategy. It's not about the racing. It's just about the real estate. And we call it progress. I call it regress because last thing Myrtle Beach needs is another strip mall, I suppose. There's plenty of empty ones down there and plenty of places to shop. Not too many stock car racing tracks down there, but they had a good crowd of about 3,000, they say. I would have to think that's the pits, the cars, and the grandstands from the report I had. Maybe 3,000 people on the property. I don't know if there were 3,000 people in the grandstands. Maybe, maybe not. I got varying reports. I guess it depends on what you want to believe. If everybody's up for social distancing, maybe not. You know, whether they're in the masks, maybe not. I don't know. But from reports I have, it seemed like everybody kept their space within the grandstands so people wouldn't bother them. But I don't see what South Carolina officials are going to do if there was not social distancing. What are you going to do? They're tearing this thing down shortly. So go out with a bang. I'm going to miss you, Myrtle Beach Speedway. I went to the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour season opener there in 2019. Watch Doug Coby come from shotgun on the grid to win the race. One of my most memorable favorite weekends ever was that one. It was a great time, great weekend, good race, and just a wonderful time at the beach. Loved it. Would love to relive that weekend again. But time goes on. So does Myrtle Beach Speedway. Hat tip to Myrtle Beach and all the historians out there. I'd love to get down to the beach soon, and we'll miss the Speedway. Thanks for all the memories for everybody that hung out at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Down the road, way down the road from Myrtle Beach Speedway, down in Florida, the Daytona International Speedway hosted the stock cars on the road course there, as was billed by NBC and so many others that this was somehow a historic event. Well, the Cup cars have never run there. The Xfinity cars never have. However, this is not the first time stock cars have run on the road course at the Daytona International Speedway. Do we all remember the modified race on Friday before the Daytona 500? It ran the last several years on the oval as a combination with the Grand American Series, but do we remember it ran on the road course there for several years? Those cars were much better transformed from short track machines to cars that could run the infield road course and the high banks of the Daytona International Speedway. But I failed to see where the big historic memory making event this was. NASCAR's National Touring Series have run the road course. Modifieds, you can call them regional now. According to NASCAR, it was a NASCAR National Modified Championship. Their words, not mine. This was back in the 70s, and so many people running social media and graphics now. Hyperbole is so much easier than actual research, so let's make it history when we're just doing something again that we've already done. That seems to be the way of Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat now anyway. So, your opinion, Roval at Daytona or back on the Super Speedway? Me? Back on the Super Speedway. That's where they belong. I'm a big fan of road racing for cars that are designed for road racing. Ergo sports car, IndyCar, Formula One. Stock cars, keep them turning left, keep the banking up high, keep the throttle down. They'll be back there for the, what are we calling this now? The Firecracker 400, even though it's the end of August. In a couple of weeks, they return to the Daytona International Speedway to run the annual 4th of July weekend 400 race at the end of August. That was rescheduled before COVID-19 ever took a shine to anyone here. Remember the schedule from last year originally put the Independence Day race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Cup Series and moved this event to later in the summer. Some events and races, you should just go back to traditional spots. They did it with the Southern 500. I hope they do it with the Firecracker 400. The plain, simple answer of what pleases fans is right in front of you. And sometimes NASCAR just missed the forest through the trees. Let's jump up on the up the road, way up the road from the Daytona International Speedway, jump back to the Midwest in the center of the state, back in the plains, the flatlands of Indiana, back to the Midwest at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where qualifying took place for the Indy 500. The grid is set, and did you notice the trickery? No, I wouldn't say trickery. Let's call it strategy put forth. I think that Scott Dixon almost turned the upset and wowed the field here from Saturday to Sunday. Did you follow what he was doing? Not just raw speed that Ganassi car had, but the strategy they used to try to beat Marco Andretti. On Saturday, when they set the Fast 9, Marco was quickest, and Scott Dixon was also fast. He put up 3 laps that were quicker than Andretti's. Then he pulled in on lap 4 on his qualifying run, knowing that he already had enough speed to make the top 9 and to not knock off Marco. Why, you may ask, Patrick? What was he trying to do? On Sunday, the Fast 9 ran in reverse order of the time that they set on Saturday. The track was going to get hotter the further along in the afternoon they went. It only took about an hour to set the Fast 9. So from 1:15 Eastern Time to about 2:15 Eastern Time were the runs of the Fast Nine. The later you went, the hotter it got, the less grip there was in the speedway. Dixon went 3 laps faster than Andretti, lifted off the throttle, pulled into pit road. Why? So he would have a slower time than Marco and could go before him. That was their strategy to try to take out Andretti for the 500 pole. Darn near worked. A 17 thousandths, hundredths thousandths of a second was the difference in the time for the two 10-mile runs between Andretti and Dixon. Strategy of brilliance here by the Ganassi crew to do what they did. As long as you were in the top 9, it didn't really matter. You could run for the pole, but they were very careful as to where they were in the lineup order, and they went right in the middle, about 5th, enough to lock them into the top 9, and then went in reverse order. Genius. Didn't work. Marco had the smoke and the steam in that Honda of his, but it didn't work. But I thought it was fantastic gamesmanship by the Ganassi guys. So here we are, the week of the Indianapolis 500, and I was getting texts this weekend and through my buds and my pals from Indiana and people from around the country. We're not going to Indy. This is going to stink. This Friday is carb day. Sunday is the 500, and it will be run in front of an empty Coliseum. And none of us, the crew that's usually there, will be there. It's painful. It's heartbreaking. I see all kinds of promotions that the PR department of the Speedway is putting out for the 500. And each one I see feels like a little bit of salt in the wound. For instance, I have seen ads for the Indy 500 program. Buy your program. Buy your souvenir program for an event that none of us can go to. The jet flyover. We've got the Thunderbirds coming for the flyover in front of an empty grandstand. Not that you shouldn't do this stuff. I understand on paper the promotional efforts that are going. Emotionally, it's hurting all of us that are not allowed to go to the 500. I would be there this weekend if I was allowed to go. There's no fans. You can't buy a ticket. Media is very limited. I was not granted a media credential. First time ever I was denied, as were so many others, but it's the first one I will not be attending since 2008. The Indianapolis 500 just is a vision to me. And I've told this story on this show before, but I know I've got a lot of new listeners tuning in. But it comes from a story Bones Bussier told me years ago, and it always rang true with me. He experienced it. I felt the same, even though I never verbalized it. And Bones would tell me that when the ABC coverage of the race was aired on Sunday evening, remember the race for so many years was not live. 1986, when Bobby Rahal won, was the first year the event was actually televised live, and that was even a rainout where it was run the following Saturday. But in the years before that, the Indianapolis 500 was run on that Sunday, Memorial Day weekend, and ABC Sports would show it Sunday night. Remember the days of Jackie Stewart and Jim McKay hosting the show. And there was that camera shot of Wide World of Sports from turn 1, and it looked up the straightaway from turn 1 to turn 4, and it dissolved and it bled in. And there was the grid of 33 cars parked there. The crews were there. And then a bunch of people were there that had access. And Bones told me, he said, when I watched that on television as a kid, I looked at those people and thought, oh my, those are the luckiest people on earth. They get to be there on the grid for the start of the Indianapolis 500. The media credentials that he and I both held for the 500 allowed us to be part of that. We were allowed to be on the grid for the Indianapolis 500. We've done a grid walk year after year for so many years there with him, with other friends, with other pals. Egils Vagans is a good friend of mine. He is married to Patricia Parsons. Patty's father, Johnny, was the race winner in 1950. I've made just so many friends. I could go on and on with folks I've met and people, and sometimes I see them just once a year at Indianapolis. And Bones would say, those are the luckiest people on the face of the earth. This credential, and he held it up, I said, allows me to be one of those people. I will never take that for granted. And that Sunday morning was always very special to us as we walked the garage area of Indy 500 morning. Then we walked out to the grid, and we saw and met and experienced just some wonderful emotional times as the Indianapolis 500 came to life. And I know people watched on TV, looked down at the sea of people and thought, those people are the luckiest people on the face of the earth. I was one of those for so many years. I got to be there, never took that for granted. That was always a privilege, not my right, but a privilege to be there. And I'm absolutely in 2020 going to miss that privilege when the Indy 500 goes green this Sunday afternoon. Like so many things this year, it's just not going to happen. And we all just got to roll with it. Life has ups and downs and disappointments, but missing the Indy 500 this Sunday is a tough one. I will be watching on television, but it's the first time I haven't been there in over a decade, and it'll be tough. But I wish everybody well with the 33 drivers that will run at 230 miles per hour and settle the contest with the Borg Warner Trophy and hoist that glass of milk when the race is over. Before we get out of here tonight, I want to give a special salute and happy birthday wish to Rex White. He is 90 years young today. NASCAR Hall of Famer, big fan of Racers Reunion Radio and our roots of the show, Speedway Report. Big fan of us, what we do, what we're a part of. He's been part of so many groups and get-togethers that Racers Reunion has done. Happy birthday, Rex White. If you're watching us within the next few days, if you're watching us live or in a podcast over the next 48 hours, we're doing this live on August 17th. On Wednesday, August the 19th, I will be at the Millbridge Speedway right here in Salisbury, North Carolina on Wednesday night for the non-wing 600cc race. Come find me. If you see me there, come say hello. I would love to meet you. Come introduce yourself. I want to say hi to the audience. I love it when you guys track me down at a racetrack and we can do some bench racing right from the pit area. As a tip to Dave Despain and Motor Week Illustrated, we're going to give our Racer of the Week to the guy that went so fast at the event that I spent the most time talking about tonight, Marco Andretti, pole sitter for the Sunday's Indianapolis 500, is our Speedway Report Racer of the Week. In between our broadcasts, keep up on the world of auto racing with SpeedwayReport.com. All of our shows are archived right there, so if you want to download for your road trip coming up before the summer's over, please check out SpeedwayReport.com. Catch up with me on social media. On Facebook, go to Racers Reunion or Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds. On Twitter, I'm at Speedway Report or at Speedway Pat. And these shows are also housed at the old RacersReunion.com site. Just go to the forum, and all our podcasts are right there. Big thanks to everyone who was on the Facebook Live conversation tonight. I see Jillian, Leon, Bill, a few other folks there. I'll get to all of you guys in a minute. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you throwing a few eyes on our show tonight. I want to thank all of the military past and present for the freedoms we enjoy as Americans in our daily life, including the simple things like bench racing right here on a Monday night. Freedom is not free, and a veteran paid that bill for us. To all of the men and women who are defending freedom and watching Speedway Report, you take care of yourselves and come home soon. A special salute to teachers, school staff, firefighters, police officers, and paramedics in our own communities. They are quiet and modest heroes every single day. God bless and thank you. You have been watching Speedway Report from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. Please like our Facebook page, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds, and follow me on Twitter at Speedway Pat. Now, if you're on Facebook Live right now, head on over to the Drag Racing List page. Bill Pratt and John Bachman will talk with Pete Moriello in just a few minutes. We'll be back here live on Facebook. It will be Monday, August 24th. With the latest from the NASCAR National Touring Series in Dover, Delaware, the short tracks, and as weird as it may sound, we'll have the winner and the latest from the Indy 500. Thanks for watching. You take care of yourselves and take care of each other. I'll see y'all next week.